Jorge Martin just said something that quietly rewrites the last 4 years of his career. A MotoGP world champion sat down this week, looked back, and admitted that the seat everyone assumed he walked away from was a seat he had already signed for, a factory Ducati contract, in his hands, and then a phone call. "You're not going there. We want another rider." For years we were told Martin chose to leave Ducati, that he bet on himself, that he wanted to be the main man elsewhere. So why is he only telling us this now? And what does it say about the team that built him? Here is why this matters more than one old contract dispute. If Martin is telling the truth, then every move that defined him since stops meaning what we always assumed. The Aprilia switch that looked like ambition, the Yamaha leap coming next season that looked like a wild gamble, the title he won on a satellite bike that looked like pure defiance. None of it was a man chasing the spotlight. All of it was a man reacting to a promise that got torn up while he was still useful. And it reframes Ducati, the team that sells itself as a family that rewards loyalty above all else. So what actually happened in that room? Go back to 2022. Martin is in his second year with Pramac, the satellite Ducati squad, and he is fast. Fast enough that Ducati has a decision to make about the second factory seat next to Francesco Bagnaia. 2 riders are in the frame, Martin and Enea Bastianini, and according to Martin, that decision had already been made, in his favour. He says he signed the factory contract for 2023. Done. Settled. The promotion he had been grinding toward since the day he arrived. Then the call came. Bastianini had just gone on a tear. 4 wins on year-old machinery with Gresini, the kind of run that makes a boardroom nervous. Ducati blinked. They told Martin the seat was no longer his. They wanted Bastianini. The contract Martin says he had signed was suddenly a piece of paper nobody at Borgo Panigale wanted to honour. So Martin re-signed with Pramac. He stayed. He even made peace with it because Pramac handed him the same factory bike the works team rode, and on paper the gap looked small, but that calm acceptance hides something. It was the first time Ducati showed him what his contract was worth the moment a faster story walked through the door, and it would not be the last. So let Martin say it himself, because the wording is the whole point. In 2022, I had already signed the contract for 2023 to be a factory rider, and at a certain point they told me, "You're not going there. We don't want you, we want another rider." Listen to that again. Not "we are still deciding." Not "it is close." He had signed. And the answer was, "We want someone else." That is not a negotiation that drifted the wrong way. That is a door shut after he had already walked through it. And for a while, he buried it. Martin himself plays the damage down. "I had a factory bike," he said. So, all things considered, the situation wasn't that different. That is the line of a man who decided not to make enemies. He took the machinery, kept his head down, and let his results do the arguing, which they did, far louder than anyone expected. Because in 2023, he took that satellite bike and pushed Bagnaia, the anointed factory number 1, deep into the title race before it slipped away late. Then in 2024, he did not let it slip. He beat the Golden Boy outright and became the first independent team rider to win the Premier class in the MotoGP era. And here is the part the headlines walk straight past. The season Ducati finally decided they wanted Martin back in red was the exact season he was busy winning them the title. They reached for him, and the seat was already gone. Listen to how Martin frames that second snub. The following year, he was deep in the title fight. Here is how he puts it. "In the final races, I was very close to victory, and they wanted me back on the factory team, but they already had a contract with another rider. Another rider. Again. The first time it was Bastianini. This time it was Marc Marquez, the biggest name in the sport, handed the seat Martin was quite literally earning on track. Twice Ducati looked at Jorge Martin, and twice they decided the bigger, safer, more marketable name was worth breaking faith for. And that is when Martin stopped sounding diplomatic. "Contracts mean nothing to the big manufacturers," he said. "They play games with us riders. That is not a man venting about one bad break. That is a rider naming the mechanism. The paper you sign is honoured only until a better option appears, and then you are the one expected to be professional about it. So what was Martin supposed to do the second Aprilia came calling with a guarantee? And this is where the whole story turns over. We were sold a version of Jorge Martin as a restless gambler, the man who could not sit still, who chased money to Aprilia, who is now throwing himself at Yamaha to save a struggling project. That story made him the actor, the one making bold and reckless choices. But that was never what was happening. Martin was not choosing chaos. He was running out of reasons to trust a team that kept telling him to wait his turn and then kept giving his turn to someone else. The Aprilia move was not ambition. It was the first time anyone offered him the one thing Ducati never would: certainty. The Yamaha bet was not recklessness. It was a man who had finally learned that a promise from a factory is only as real as the day they still need you. This was never a story about Martin being disloyal to Ducati. It is a story about Ducati being conditionally loyal to Martin, the family brand, the team that sells togetherness and patience and earning your stripes, kept a future champion on satellite machinery, and gave the work seat to whoever made the better poster. Martin did not betray that culture. He survived it, and then he left it before it could happen to him a third time. So here is the honest verdict. Jorge Martin owes Ducati nothing, and the version of events where he is the disloyal one should die today. Twice he was promised the factory seat, in spirit or in ink, and twice the door was shut because a more convenient name appeared. He still won them a world title from the wrong side of the garage. That is not a man who failed to earn his place. That is a manufacturer that never intended to hand it over on his terms. And the uncomfortable part for Ducati is this. Their entire identity is built on the idea that they reward the riders who stay, who fight, who do it the hard way. Martin did all of that. He did it better than anyone in their satellite history. And it still was not enough, because loyalty inside that structure only ever flows one direction. The rider is asked to honour the relationship. The factory honours the spreadsheet. Martin is not bitter for telling this story now. He is finally free to tell it because he no longer needs anything from the people in it, and that is exactly why it is worth believing. So when you picture Jorge Martin leaving Ducati, ask whether he ever truly left, or whether he was shown the door years before any of us noticed. Do you believe his version, or is he rewriting his own history? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.